Let's talk about a misconception with damaged girls and how they date. Oh my goodness. Okay, so let me tell you what the running theme was whenever I was growing up. So, I hate the phrase. I hate it so much, but let me just say daddy issues. Daddy issues. We have heard this so many times, or at least me as a millennial, I have heard it so many times. And generally, it's a phrase that's used to degrade females whose fathers were bad people or neglected or abandoned them or whatever. Daddy issues. That's why she has trouble dating, because she has daddy issues, blah, blah, blah. Okay, let me tell you something. I believe that the people we choose to date, they're not a direct reflection of our fathers, although maybe they could be. But I know for me personally, and of course, like, I'm talking about the niche experience of being a straight uh, cis female who had a neglectful relationship with her father. So obviously, this everybody's thing is different, right? And I just want to acknowledge that. I'm just acknowledging this is just my personal experience. What I learned over the years with all of the bad characteristics of people I dated is that, interestingly enough, the traits that they shared were with the adults who were around me the most, not the ones who abandoned me, okay? Because the people who were in my life the most and their toxic traits were the things that I identified with as safe. So, um, just in my personal experience, the more I learned about the adults I grew up with and my experiences with them, or you might say, how I experienced them and their traits, were the biggest reflection of the negative, damaging, and harmful traits that I was attracted to. And I'll tell you like a funny example that I was thinking of not very long ago. I was thinking to myself, like, I find it so attractive to be with a guy who loves to drive the car, loves to be the person who drives the car, okay, or whatever vehicle there is. If we're doing something, I love to be with a guy who always has to be the driver. And then I was thinking about it, and I was like, why do I love that? Is that, should I? Like, what's the reason behind that? Why on earth would I think such a silly thing like that? And on the negative side, the bad aspect is that I have experience with controlling adults when I was growing up. Adults who want to control you, who wanted to control me in every aspect that they could. And when they didn't have control, they freaked out, okay, and lashed out. They want to have control, they want to dictate how things go. And so that is the toxic trait that I found that I was like, oh, eek, ew, gross. Why am I attracted to that? Like, it manifests itself as, like, just again, as an example, and not even something that's really happened, but just like a hypothetical. If you have a guy, in my case, because that's what I am unfortunately attracted to, if you have a man who insists upon driving every single time, he might have a little bit of like an ego problem. Maybe maybe that's a sign, maybe that's a red flag that he wants to be in control of everything at all times. And if he doesn't, then he will freak out. Okay. So I kind of shifted my mindset and I was like, okay, well, yeah, but so yeah, I shouldn't be attracted to someone who just wants to control everything all the time. Okay. So I pay attention to that and I kind of like stash that away in my brain. But then I'm like, okay, but I am still kind of attracted to the idea of the guy who always wants to be the driver. Because I just don't really like to drive that much. Like, sometimes I do, but most of the time I'd rather be doing something else when I need to get somewhere. And so I think the thing that I am attracted to, that I can pull out of that, that is a good thing, that is an acceptable thing for me to be attracted to, is I do like men who have a sort of stereotypically male interest in vehicles or mechanics or like manly quote unquote hobbies. And I think that's normal and I think that's okay. And so I guess I was just sort of evaluating myself. Like, I always want to make sure that I am growing emotionally, psychologically, mentally, in every way possible. Like, the older I get, the better I become, or at least like that's the goal. I feel like if you're not learning and you're not growing, then you're actively decaying and dying on the inside, you know? Like, you should be actively getting better as a person and developing yourself as a person. And so for me, part of that is like, I need to, if I ever want to date in the future, if I ever want to be in another relationship, like, I have this requirement of myself that I know what healthy looks like and what unhealthy looks like, because it isn't natural to me. It's something that I have to learn. And I have a lot of experiences of bad things that I now know that I need to stay away from. And I have experiences of good things that I think to myself, I want to feel like that again. So I want to make sure that I am identifying the root cause of the good things and the bad things, so that if they manifest themselves differently, at least I know the core of what I need to look for. So again, a lot of these bad experiences that I think of, things like men wanting to control me even though they didn't love me, or people wanting to dictate what happened in my life even though they didn't necessarily care how I felt. These are characteristics of people who were in my life. Again, not of people who abandoned me or left me or created a physical distance between themselves and me. And so I just think it's an interesting perspective that I hope that other people will consider whenever they think that, or when they fear that, you know, they fall into this stereotype of like, I'm bad at relationships because I'm a daddy issues girl, or like whatever the stereotype is about you as a, you know, whether you are straight or you are LGBTQIA plus, or you're cis or you're trans or you're, you know, whatever that stereotype is about the type of person you are or the category that you fall into. I hope that you won't get trapped there, and I hope that you will, through your critical thinking and through your learning and development and your improving of yourself as a person, I hope that you will start to see and understand the reasons why you are attracted to the people you are, and whether it's healthy and whether it's not, and that you will then be able to identify and feel comfortable and feel safe in relationships should you choose to have them. I think that it's opened my eyes a lot to see that there are so many traits that are reflective of the adults I grew up with in the people that I dated, because I wasn't expecting it. But the more you learn, you know, the more capable you become of making the right decisions for yourself. Knowledge is power. The application of knowledge specifically is power. I truly, truly believe that. So I would say it's a wonderful opportunity to think back on the damage that was done. If you have bad experiences from the past and from your childhood, I think it is extremely beautiful to have the opportunity to reflect back on that and to both heal the inner child wounds and the manifestations that they have in your adult life. You can heal your inner child while you heal the part of you who connects and relates as an adult, and it is beautiful. It can be painful. It will be painful if you delve into things that really hurt you as a child, and you may find that you are still just as raw as an adult to those things as you were when you were a child, especially if these things have been like suppressed, knowingly or unknowingly, and you haven't looked at them in a long time. You will sometimes revert to your past self, and you will feel the feelings just as strongly as if you right now are a 5-year-old or a 6-year-old or a 9-year-old. You will feel that again. But I want to say that there are safe ways that you can work through that. And please trust and believe that you are now also an adult. So you can be to your child's self what she or he never had. And that is something I'm a huge advocate for, because it's changed my life to look at myself as, I am the capable adult now, and I have the opportunity to be to myself, to my inner hurt child self, that loving, caring, warm, safe space that she didn't have back then. There are definitely different methodologies and different therapies and different ways that you can handle this, and I am not licensed in any of it, so so I'm not speaking as a licensed professional on it at all, but I have found it really fascinating to watch IFS, to watch its internal family systems therapy examples, to watch those where you are seen as having parts. I, again, don't want to speak to this as if I'm a professional at all, but if you're interested in that, definitely you can look up IFS, internal family systems, and it is a fascinating way to look at, your child self, your wounds, your past, your hurts, and how to, as an adult, release the pain together with your child self. It's just, it's beautiful. It's so great. And I wish immensely, deeply, wonderfully magical healing to everyone who has some pain that they haven't dealt with yet. And I wish confidence to you that you can make it through. I was very scared of delving into my past for a very long time. And I will tell you that there was a period of time where I just felt so broken. And I felt like this is worse. Like, me looking at this and acknowledging this is actually worse than when I was repressing it and didn't know that it was there. I felt like that for a time. But then I began to feel empowered over time, because I could see things for what they really were. Because sometimes the monster under your bed is literally just a pile of socks, and you don't know that until you look at the monster. And so kind of same thing goes for healing what happened to you in the past. there are some things that I would say, like, I wouldn't personally recommend going through by yourself. If you are able to share some of your traumas with other people, safe people, it could help you. But if you share your traumas with unsafe people, it can further traumatize you. So just beware and be wise. I think that for me, I had a combination of things. Like, I was working with a therapist who unfortunately did further traumatize me. Um, and I then began working through things on my own and fell into some depression. And that was the thing that I was afraid of. However, I will say, like, from this standpoint, me getting through that depression was so empowering. It was incredible. And so it could have, I think if I would have had good, healthy support systems to go through it at the time, I could have probably healed a lot faster. Um, but even though I didn't, and even though I was stuck in isolation and depression, I did make it through that period. And not only did I make it through that period, but I began to appreciate myself more, and I began to feel more love toward myself. And so it was something that before I did it, it felt impossible to overcome those things, not knowing what the things were. And then after I looked at it, I felt just so empowered, and I saw the possibilities, and I was able to move through stages of grieving, like desperation and sadness, and feeling like, God, like, this was so much worse than I realized. Like, oh my God, why did I go through this whenever I was so little? This is horrible. And then I was pissed off, and I was, why did nobody protect me? Why didn't I deserve to have anyone good in my life? Blah 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 blah. Like, I had all these thoughts, and nobody, nobody wants to feel that. Like, that's a really crappy feeling. But then comes the realization after that, when you look at all that pain, that you're like, oh, wait a minute, I am here. I'm still alive. I made it past that. I made it through all that stuff. Oh my God, I'm powerful. Okay, I can now heal myself. I can take care of this. Um, I can be for myself now with my resources and my knowledge that I've gained over the years. I can love myself now when I wasn't loved back then, or I can care for myself now in the ways that I wasn't cared for back then in this specific moment. Or, if I should find myself in a position where someone wants to treat me now the way that they treated me in that moment, I can stand up for myself. Like, this is a beautiful thing. So it does become empowering. And I do believe that you can get through it, one way or another, whether you have to white knuckle it through on your own, or, if you are lucky or blessed enough to have incredible people in your life who help you get through it, professionals or friends or family or whatever it is. There's an opportunity there. There is an opportunity, and I believe that you can get through your trauma. Everyone's journey is totally different, but I think it is important to look the scary thing in the eye, so that you realize for yourself, I am strong enough to overcome this. Because that's the most important lesson that I have learned when it comes to dealing with past pain, past hurt, past trauma is, oh my God, I'm really actually capable of getting through this and thriving and getting past all of the things that I thought would totally take me out. I can come through on the other side, and I can do better, and I can have better, and I can live the life that I want to live. Of course, my life goes in waves, and I'm in kind of like a weird one right now, but I can look back in the past, and it gives me confidence that even though some things are hard for me right now, emotionally and psychologically, if I look back on other things that have happened, I know that there's a bright future for me. I know that because I've seen it, because I've lived it, because I've pushed through some really horrible things and then gotten to some really beautiful things. So if I can do it, you can do it. Trust me.